Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2017 film Nemesis 5, The New Model. So this is the last of the Nemesis movies. I've reviewed them all, and this is the last one I have to talk about. So Nemesis 4, Cry of Angels, which came out in 1996, is where the series really hit the bottom of the barrel and got so bad. So in my review of that film, I said that movie was a write-off. Don't even bother seeing it. It was almost unwatchable. And then 21 years later, Nemesis 5 comes along and says, hold my beer. This movie is horrible. Can't believe they actually lowered the bar further. Now, the Nemesis movies were never high cinema. They were never these great films, but at least they were these fun B-movie sci-fi flicks. And they felt like movies when you watched them. They actually felt like a film, like you were watching an actual movie. So you still kind of got pulled into that world. There was some suspension of disbelief while you watched them. And they had that charm about them, that B-movie charm of the 90s. This movie has none of that. This movie is brutal. This movie has basically no actors, because no one can act. It's just like they got regular people. It's just like me and my circle of friends who we've never acted before. We've never even remotely studied acting, anything like that. We just decided one day to make a sci-fi movie and we're all going to act in it. That's how bad the acting is. So there is no actors. There are no sets in this movie. It's just filmed in people's apartments and in people's garages, and they do absolutely nothing in this film to dress anything up to even remotely make it look like science fiction. About the most they do is they shoot everything through these weird filters. This movie is brutal. So this movie stars Mel Novak, Donna Lee Heising, Sue Price, Skylar Craig, Edwin Garcia, Daniel Joseph Steer, and Crystal Milani. And it's also directed by Dustin Ferguson and written by Mike Reeb. And the production company that churned out this garbage is SoCal Cinema Studios. I don't even know why people even bother making movies that's this bad. I tried to find out what the budget is on this thing. I couldn't find it, but it could not be high. So the story, I'm going to try to explain the story. The story was actually hard to follow in this movie because it's so badly written, and I didn't really piece it together until the end. So this movie takes place some years after Nemesis 4. And Sue Price returns and reprises her role as Alex. But she's only in the beginning of the movie, and she has no lines of dialogue, so you don't even hear her talk. So the cyborgs have won the war with humans, but Alex is still fighting cyborgs in the wasteland, which just looks like basically someone's backyard and by their shed. That's what the wastelands look like. It doesn't even look like wastelands. And so she's fighting these cyborgs, and then a little girl finds her and then follows her home. So she takes this young girl under her wing, and then she trains her to fight and all this kind of stuff, and trains her in all these martial arts and that. And then they decide humanity has lost the war against the cyborgs. But how the cyborgs won was back in the past. Well, the past in this point in the future is 2077. That's the past, because this is in the future, further in the future. Is that the cyborgs realize they can control all the humans, and the cyborgs are the same ones. They're the Red Army Hammerheads, and they were at war with the LAPD. So they decided the best way to win the war against the LAPD was seize control of all the media outlets in Los Angeles and pump out tons of fake news about how horrible the LAPD police department is. And so all the citizens turned on the LAPD, and the cyborgs seized control. And that's how they maintain control. So they decided the best way to do that is for the new model, played by Skylar Craig, to go back in time and with a chip and find the main source of all the fake news, and then put this chip in that will play the truth and show that it's actually the Hammerheads that are being brutal and killing people and all this kind of stuff, and not the LAPD. So that's the whole story in a nutshell. And it is just bad. It's terrible. The acting is non-existent. It's so bad. Now, some of the other things that make this movie absolutely terrible is it's hard to hear because they didn't use any kind of mics. So there's no ADR, just nothing like that. And like they had no mics at all to catch any of the actors talking. So when they're talking, it's like it sounds far away, and it's tough to hear. That's the other thing. The other thing is the special effects for the film looks like, well, the whole movie looks like it was filmed on an iPhone or a smartphone, and then it looks like all the CGI was done by using a smartphone app. That's how bad the CGI and special effects are. And now the cool looking robot or cyborg or whatever that is you see on the poster here, because this poster isn't actually a bad looking poster. That's not even in the movie. There is a new Nebula model in the movie that gets unleashed, and it is like someone wearing like a spandex suit that covers their whole body and with glowing lines on it. And that was the only kind of remotely cool special effect. But you can tell whoever was in the suit was a big overweight guy. So while this Nebula is kind of running around, and you can tell it's a fat guy in the suit, it looks just hilarious. Just run around punching people. And there's just all kinds of ridiculous stuff in it. And then there's one actress, I believe the actress's name is Donna Lee Heising. She plays Barbarella or Barbiella or something. I forget the character's name, something like that. But the actress had so much plastic surgery, she can barely move her face. Like, and it's almost to the point where it's unnerving to look at. Look at the actress. There's so much. She has so much plastic surgery done. It's like one of those. Like, you ever see that TV show, Plastic Surgery Gone Wrong or Plastic Surgery Gone Too Far? She would be in one of those shows. It's really that bad. And the other thing, the props, all their guns, literally look like they just bought guns from the dollar store, like toy ray guns from the dollar store, and that's what they're using. That's their guns. It is absolutely atrocious. Like I don't even see the point. Like, I don't even see the point of why you would even spend the money to make something like this. Say if this movie cost, I don't know, $25,000, $30,000. Like, I couldn't even begin to guess. But say it cost $30,000 to make that. Instead of making a really crappy sci-fi movie that's just gonna get destroyed, and people are just gonna laugh at, why not take your $25,000 or your $30,000? Instead of making a super crappy sci-fi movie, you could take that money and you could actually produce a really good comic book. That would be a better use of your money in this case, because this is terrible. This is absolutely brutal. And I thought Nemesis 4 was like the bottom of the barrel. You couldn't go any lower, but they managed to do it. And it looks super cheap, like super, super cheap. And the other thing they do with all the scenes is they shoot everything through these weird filters, especially like all the desert scenes. So everything looks like this weird orange and red, like the sky is red and the sand and bushes are orangey red. It looks terrible. It's brutal. It's a terrible, terrible movie. I don't even know what else to say about it. It has some like kind of cool sounding rock songs in it. So that's like one of the saving graces. And the poster looks cool. Like, this poster would look cool on a wall if you had printed this. But it's a terrible movie. And Albert Pyun is he just executive produced this thing. He didn't write it, direct it, nothing. So maybe they'll make a Nemesis 6, who knows? Maybe they'll start churning out these movies. Just someone probably grabbed the rights to this super cheap and start to turn out garbage movies. But it is bad. So just avoid this movie. Don't even bother watching it. It is absolutely terrible. And there's kill scenes in the movie that don't even make sense. It's how bad it is. There is one scene when they're in a bar for no reason to get supplies at this bar, but they never actually pick up their supplies and they leave. It doesn't even make sense. But anyway, where they're sitting around and one of the girls, I think she's a cyborg. I don't know. Some guy, just like a regular looking guy. It doesn't even look like just a regular Joe that you would see in any bar today. This is supposed to be the year 2077, and everyone's supposed to be like cyborgs. This guy comes up and he hits on the one girl. And so she gets up and then she grabs his ball sack and squeezes it so hard he dies. And makes this weird, like, robotic noise as he keels over and croaks. And like, nobody bats an eye at this in the bar. So I'm thinking, like, where was this guy's cyborg implants? Did he put all the cyborg implants in his ball sack? And then this chick crushed them all and that was like his main weak spot and now he's dead? It was ridiculous. Like, that's the levels of stupidity in this movie. And then another guy, he gets some girl bangs him to death or chokes him while she's banging him, and that couldn't even tell because it was shot through a really red, black, and red filter and like it was hard to hear what was going on because it was bad. Everything in this movie is bad. Like it's a complete joke. It's terrible. Horrible movie. Horrible movie. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you at the next one.
Looks like you're due for an upgrade. Am I really that big of a bitch?
I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.